Hi, first graders. I have the best part of the story today with Peter's first Easter. It's about Jesus being alive. Sunday morning, chapter 9. For me, Saturday was a dead and dreadful day. One by one, all the disciples snuck back to the upper room where we had eaten with Jesus on Thursday, all but Judas. We locked the door and blew out the candles so no one could tell where we were. We were scared. We had hoped that Jesus was the Redeemer of Israel, but he had died, and all our hopes had died too. We didn't eat, we didn't talk. We sat in sadness and in darkness all alone. But then someone started to bang on the door. I thought it was the soldiers that had come, until the person hollered, "Peter, Peter!" And it was a woman's voice. "Go away," I shouted. "Peter, open the door. It's me, Mary Magdalene." I cracked the door, and light burst into the room. Why, it was Sunday morning, but I said, "Hush, woman, the soldiers will hear you." "Oh, Peter," Mary laughed. She was with James's mother and Joanna and Salome. They were all laughing. "The angels," they cried. "The angels have sent us with messages." "Oh, Peter, come out. Come see what we have seen." Mary pulled me down the steps and made me run through the city with her. "We went to the tomb," she said, "and we went to rub oils on Jesus' body. But when we got there, the stone was rolled away, and the tomb was empty, Peter. And we were so scared. But there was an angel, and he told us not to be afraid, and he said, 'You are looking for Jesus, but he isn't here. He is risen just as he promised.'" Mary burst out laughing again and ran ahead of me all the way to the tomb. "Look inside," she said. I did. I saw the linen cloth lying by itself, but nothing else. No body was here, either living or dead. So what was I supposed to think? I stood up, more scared than ever. Mary said, "Peter, don't you remember his promise that he would rise again on the third day?" I pushed her out of my way and I ran as fast as I could to the upper room again. I slammed the door and locked it. Mary must have been a fool, and I was scared, because if our enemies would steal the body of Jesus, they would surely kill me too. When the evening came, Thomas said that at least we ought to eat something, so he went out to find some food. While we argued about whether to light a lamp at all at once, Jesus was in the room with us. He frightened us, and we all backed away. And then he said, "Peace be with you." And that made things worse. This was a ghost that could talk. But then he did 3 things. He opened his hands and showed us the scars from the spikes. He sang the beautiful words again, almost as if they were a lullaby. "Peace be with you." And he smiled at us. He smiled like in the olden days, but he smiled in a new way too, like the morning sun at the beginning of the world. John started to giggle. James swatted his leg and laughed out loud. Soon, all the disciples were laughing till the tears ran down their cheeks, so glad they were able to see the Lord. Yes, it was the third day, and yes, he had risen from the dead. He said, "Just as the Father sent me into the world, so I am sending you. Go out and do my work." Then he came near and breathed on each one of us and said, "Receive the Holy Spirit. The sins you forgive, they are forgiven." Well, not all of the disciples laughed. For one, Thomas wasn't even there. And when the others told him what had happened, he wouldn't believe them until Jesus came back again 1 week later and proved to Thomas that he was really and truly alive. And for another, me, I could not laugh with the others because I didn't know what Jesus thought of me now. I was the one, you see, who had promised that he had never even met Jesus. I was the one who was so afraid for my own life that I denied him 3 times. I was so glad that he was alive again, and I never stopped loving him. But I didn't laugh. and I hid behind James and John.